USTECH, and the USTECH is a little bit choppy since the breakdown of that channel we identified on the 1 hour time frame here. So this is what we saw at the beginning of the week. We were able to successfully identify a channel between the 11,570, which is the resistance point of that channel, and then we had a support level sitting at the 11,520 area of that channel. And we had a beautiful signal yesterday morning at the breakdown of the 11,520, which finally led to the breakdown of the $11,500 level. Remember how important that structure is on our daily time frame. I will be showing you that in a moment for those who had missed out on our analysis yesterday. So I will be showing you that in a moment. So we have the breakdown of the 11,520. Price action came back to do retest of structure with a lot of selling pressure around that area to give us an opportunity to sell one more time. So we had sold at this point, moved our stop loss to break even here. But one thing we have observed here in the last 12 hours on this option is the fact that as soon as price got into this bullish trend line, remember how the bullish trend line has been guiding bullish momentum since for the last 2 weeks now, remember? So we saw how that bullish trend line has been guiding that bullish momentum. Now in the last 4 to 5 hours now, as soon as price tested that bullish trend line, we have been noticing some buy pressure come in gradually at this point. Now, in addition to the identification of buying pressure right above this bullish trend line is the fact that this, as soon as price tested the 11,470 level, we saw that price was unable to break the previous low here at 11,450. So this might likely turn out to be a reversal pattern that might be inciting another wave of bullish momentum here. So before I go into the details of what our expectations are for today, first of all, move your stop loss if you're already in the trade to break even here, and let's scale up to the daily time frame and let's see what is really happening and how important we said the $11,500 level is at the beginning of this week. So scaling up to the daily time frame here, the first thing we observed on the daily time frame is that price action has been very bearish throughout the course of last year, and in fact that bearish trend line continued and consistently held selling pressure. As you can see, all the lower highs for last year fell right below and within that trend line. Now things got a little bit interesting in the month of June, where we saw the $11,000 level continue to hold buy pressure, negating all attempt by the sellers to break down of the structure. And this held quite well for a while. I think about 2 or 3 months it continued to hold buy pressure, and in that regard we had this $11,000 level as a key level we wanted to be using to guide trading activity for this year. And following the last impulsive move that tested the bearish trend line here, we saw this leg come into the structure where price action transitioned into a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. And whenever we have a reversal pattern, you know the next thing we want to be doing is to identify a neckline which we shall be using to guide our trading activity. Now if you look at the neckline here, it falls within the $11,000 level, which we said is a very good key level we want to be using to guide trading activity. And we saw the breakout retest of that structure during the last week trading session to give us an opportunity to buy, and in fact we enjoyed this move all the way up. We had multiple entries as well, as we took our TP target at around the $11,500 level with a minimum of about 500 pips in profit for last week. And since the beginning of the week we can see how price action had continued to consolidate around the $11,500 level. Now how important is the $11,500 level with this current structure? Well, if we go to as far back as the month of November here, after price action broke out of the 11,700, we saw a huge consolidation phase between the 12,100 and the $11,500 level. So this was the resistance level of the channel at the 12,100, and this is the support level of the channel at 11,500. So the support level of this channel held by pressure for about a month before we saw the breakdown of the structure here during the mid-month of December, and price is right back into that structure at this point, making it a critical point in this market right now. So since the breakdown of the structure, normally we expect from a technical standpoint that whenever price breaks down a structure, we might likely see a situation where price comes back into the structure, price action transitions into a reversal pattern that will incite another wave of that momentum to the downside. So at this point, we really need to understand what is really going on here, and we want to be identifying a technical structure that will be giving us an insight into what our next line of action will be around this point. So the question we are going to be asking for this week is, are we going to be seeing a trend continuation pattern around here, probably in the form of a bullish rectangular pattern, a flag pattern, a wedge, whatever it is, breakout retest on our lower time frame to give us an opportunity to buy? That is one scenario we are looking forward to. Or we might see a situation where price action transitions into a reversal pattern, like a double top structure, head and shoulder pattern, sudden pressure in our lower time frame to incite a bearish momentum, which might likely come back into the $11,000 level, which was broken during the course of last week's trading session, to incite another wave of bullish momentum, or probably break down that structure to incite a sell-off in this market. So you can see that we really need to understand what is really going on around the 11,500 to make a decision for today and for this week. So in that regard, we shall be scaling down to the lower time frame, that is the 11,500. Let's see what is really going on there, and let's use whatever structure we have there to make a decision for today. So going back down to the 1 hour time frame, here we are on the 1 hour time frame, and that is the $11,500 level we identified on the daily time frame, and it's has been serving as a key level for trading activity for this week. So that's the 11,500. We saw the breakdown of that channel. Price breaks down both the channel here of the support level of the channel here at 11,500 to the downside to give us a signal that there is a bearish signal coming in. But one thing we saw here is that price was unable to break the previous low to further emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point. So in that regard, we want to be as fluid as possible so that we can join that bullish momentum when it happens. So if this bullish trend line is going to be strong enough to hold that bullish momentum, then we want to be positioning ourselves in such a way that we can catch that move when it happens. So the next thing we did here, and we are going to be doing right now, is to bring out our line chart. And remember, since the beginning of the week, we have been seeing selling pressure. Price has been finding lower highs but unable to find lower lows at this point. So we shall be connecting the series of lower highs here. So here we are, that's the lower high, and we have a beautiful bearish trend line there. So we shall be using this trend line to guide our trading activities for today. So let me do some readjustment. So we have something like this, and now what we are going to be looking forward to as we start seeing buy pressure come in right above that bullish trend line, we want to see an outright breakout of the structure at the $11,500 level, which also shares a very beautiful confluence with that bearish trend line we just identified now. So what we are looking forward to buy the USTECH is to see price break out of the structure that we buy. Then if price comes back to do a retest of structure, which from a technical standpoint is a usual scenario on this kind of breakout structures, then we want to be adding more position to our existing trade. And then remember that we have this resistance level for this week at 11,570. So if price action further breaks out of that structure, it will be a very good opportunity for us to add more position to our existing trade. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to buy the USTECH for today. So we want to see price break out of that bearish trend line, which I said also shares a beautiful confluence with that $11,500 level, which is a very important key level on the daily time frame, and I showed you earlier. Now, what happens if price does not climb above the 11,500 but instead continues to drop to the downside? So remember, we have this bullish trend line which has been holding bullish momentum since last week. Remember, this is the bullish trend line here, which has been holding bullish momentum since last week, and following the selling pressure we have been witnessing since the beginning of this week, it is very likely and there is a high possibility that the selling pressure here will break down that bullish trend line. And if the breakdown of that bullish trend line happens, this is going to be a beautiful signal that sellers are coming in gradually in this market, and we might likely be seeing a retracement of that impulsive move that started last week to the downside. And if a further breakdown of the 11,400 level happens, followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame, we want to be adding more position to our exiting trade. So what this simply means is that below the $11,500 level is an area we want to be looking out for selling opportunities, and we shall be using both the bearish trend line here and the bullish trend line to guide our trading activity for today. So a breakdown of this bullish trend line should be giving us an opportunity to sell, and a breakout of the bearish trend line here, which also shares a confluence with 11,500, will be giving us an opportunity to buy the USTECH for today. So let's be on standby to catch this move, and I hope you screenshotted my screen so that you can use it as a reference point when you're about making your individual decision during the New York session today. So these are the scenarios we are having on the USTECH for today. So if you have any questions or you need me to shed more light in a particular aspect you really didn't understand, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section, and what I will be looking at the comment section from time to time